Fellow Guyanese, a pleasant good evening to each and every one of you in Guyana and elsewhere. Today, I want to address you and let you know the way I feel about my country. I must say that I was very fortunate in the past, and still are at the present moment, to travel around the world at a very young age and get my training in the US. I have seen so many nations with different languages and culture and different behaviors. But I hate to say, these are from the major countries of Africa, India, China, and Europe. But when I worked in the West Indies, the great-grandchildren of slaves or emancipations, and the great-grandchildren of cheap labor that always cry, arrive. It hurts me. It hurts me for many of reasons. It is one thing to know what you read and what you heard passing down from generation to generation, what happened to your ancestor. But it is another thing to know, while you heard that, not witnessing it nor feel the pain about it, but it send a message to you. And it make you become hateful, rebellious. But look what you have done to the Amerindian in Guyana as Guyanese blacks under the late Burnham government. Even though height was strict, it still happens. And you, the East Indian descendant, who claim you arrived because of cheap labor, which, to be fair, if it was not the will of God, then it couldn't be the will of the devil. It is time for we to draw a line and let it be known that the great-grandchildren of slavery, if you were in Africa today, what would have become of you? Will you have been a doctor, a pilot, great musicians and teachers, playing electric guitar, blowing saxophone, electric pianos? These things had a price, ladies and gentlemen. For those who embedded the slave trade on you, they themselves were slaves. And 90% of them were criminals that conquer countries out of Europe where there were people. Do not blame the buyer, blame the seller. Because if it was not for your ancestors of Africa, you would have never had Ace Cannon, Louis Armstrong. You wouldn't have got Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, Tyson, and many, many names, but I called a few. O.J. Simpson. You wouldn't have got Obama. You wouldn't have got plenty. Great Magic Johnson, Pele of Brazil, Godfrey Sobers, and many. And if it wasn't for the cheap labor, you wouldn't have got Kali Churan, Rohan Kanai playing in the West Indies, Basil Butcher, and many more. So, why are we looking back hundreds of years when we ourselves are hurting people of today? You, the black race, 28 years of leadership from 1966. Height, I will say 24 years of Burnham time. Height only had 4 years. And he tried his best to do what is good. But let me ask all of you, who paid Feynman was to do the killing and make it look like robbery and was murdered, he and his crew? Ask Mr. Glenn Lal if he know who killed those people in the Kaijua News, the press. Ask him. And why those killings went on. Was it a robbery? No. It was political affair. Take it from me. But nevertheless, whatever crime a man committed, so shall he reap the harvest. Where is fine man today? Where is the man who killed Walter Rodney, the black grandson of grandchildren of slaves? It was a black man who killed him. That is alleged Gregory Smith. Where is he? They say he died in Cayenne. When the late Walter Rodney's son is alleged, asked Chetty Jagan when he became president to reply to him, and if so be the case, what you expect to gain. But how long did Jagan live also when he got the power that he had always wanted? And how long did Burnham live after the death of the late Walter Rodney? As I say, it was fake. But you say better. That's why they jump up on the funeral procession with Chetty in the East Coast, Boxer and Pleasance, and open the casket to make sure it was him. Which tell me, was it Burnham who was dead, or was it somebody from the Palms? Because Ronald Reagan, after he challenged Ronald Reagan, after the death of Maurice Bishop of Grenada, it would have been him. So he faked that. Imagine he walked into public hospital. Van West Charles was there. There are many people and many things we can all assume. But what we are seeing is what we are consuming, not assuming. You great-grandchildren of slaves, for being illiterate at the time and racial, you have chosen the Barabbas. But yet, and you the Indian, you have also choose Judas Iscariot as Chetty Jagan. You blame Peter DeGar for collating with Burnham the Barabbas. But you did not blame Judas Iscariot as Chetty Jagan, who refused to join hand with DeGar to form a government, especially with the help of foreign agents. They're ready to put the X-13 plan into focus to kill out Indian male and inbreed the women with another race. Let it be known to all of you, what wrong you do will come back to haunt your children, your generation. Guyana is 83,000 square miles. Who closed down the bauxite company? Who get rid of the 3-county train station and the yellow bus? Who nationalized Booker's and many others? It was Burnham with the help of Judas Iscariot as Chetty Jagan. Friends, Burnham gave a speech that 49%, 51% for Guyana, 49% for the investors, and you, the black supporters, say he was right. Is Guyana on? Yes, you are right. But it wasn't the investors he was speaking to. It was 49% for Chetty, 51% for him. That is why on to this day, 32 is more than 33. Right, David? Right, Nagamoto, Ramjatan, Joseph? And now comes another brother, who I'm not going to challenge because he's running around criticizing, of course, as a politician and an opposition. But when you have snakes on board a mongoose and crocodile, you think you will come out of this swamp, Mr. Norton? No. Those who grow to hate you will always hate you. Those who could not be crowned king or queen join you, don't believe that the appetite is not open and you have to be careful. Those who use the law of the land when they are given the authority to hurt people's children because you speak out against them, their days are bitter and number, and if not them, their children shall answer the call. I am going to play a little episode by a Muslim or a Christian for you to hear nothing wrong for you corrupt politicians and others. Go on.
You guys need to repent. And every politician and every leader, wherever you are and whichever party you are in, remember one thing. What goes around comes around, my dear friend. If you think that you can hurt people, you will be hurt before you know it. And you will never, ever escape this. On this earth, you will be paid back. If you hurt someone, you will be hurt back. And if you do good to someone, good will be done unto you. For this is the law and the prophet. Do unto them whatever you believe should be done unto you. Do you want to ever be mistreated? Do you want to be ever disrespected? If you cannot accept it for yourself, don't accept it for others. If you do not want to be disrespected, don't disrespect others. If you do not want to be degraded, do not bring people down. If you do not want to be hurt, don't hurt other people. So I say to whoever leader comes on board, if you think you're coming to hurt your own people, you will be hurt 100 times more over.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, for that little extract I give you, I hope you understand. For wise men have seen it different from thieves and vagabonds. I do hope you understand what goes up must come down and what goes around will come around. With that, I remember a story that was sent to me about a farmer named Pete. He was doing his farming when he heard a collision on the highway side of his farm. So he rushed to the scene. It was a bus full of people. Most of them were dead and few survived. But he got to understand that the few survivors was politicians. So they helped him to bury the dead, but the hole was deep enough. He got them to go down and he covered them all, the politician too. And he went back to his farming. 2-3 days after, the marshal and others in the police, everybody meet to the scene, and they saw him in the field doing his farming. So they go and make introduction, and he introduced himself as Pete. So they say, Mr. Pete, I see this accident here, this bus crash. Were you here? He said, yes, I heard the collision. Did you see anything? He said, yes, I rushed to the scene. He says, all the people was dead to the exception of the politician. He said, what become of the dead? He said, I buried them here. He said, then what become of the politician? He said, well, I'm sorry, I had to bury them too because you cannot trust the politician. What could happen? He was speaking the truth. Politicians say one thing and mean several other things. So you, the black brothers and sisters who talk about slavery, if there is a God, you shall suffer more than the slave master for knowing what happened to your ancestor and what you do to the indigenous people. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And you, the Indian, who don't talk race and slavery, you are so corrupt, covetous, vindictive, and very ungrateful. But nevertheless, you have good and bad amongst both races. The decent blacks don't want to mix with the others who are corrupt, confused, and ready to get into confrontation, less educated. And the decent Indian do not want to get into that. The only thing that the blacks have to talk about steady, our ancestor was slave, but they forgot what they are doing to people in their own country. And the Indian, you don't talk about slavery because you so corrupt, you would sell your daughter and your mother for $1 bill. You might be upset with me, but every crime that you have committed against an innocent woman or man, you shall answer it, or your children will answer. Ask Ramjatan what he do. Ask him. But I can promise you, they are not escaping this. We are nice people. We believe in a God, and he can give us justice. How long did Burnham live after the death of Rodney? How long did Chetty Jager live after he get the country? He didn't even obtain his term. You could lie to people, you cannot lie to God and time. Fellow citizens, I blame not the politician, I blame all of you who vote for them. It is time for you all to be united and come together for a new government, a national front government, and no judges or magistrates must be elected by official ministers because they are all servants. A vote must be given to them. We want justice, Mr. Ali. Ramadan is coming. Don't be a yes man. Beg Allah for guide you and do the right thing. A national front government down with PPPC and APNU, who's a part of PNC and PPP. From the beginning forming the government in the 66, it was Indian crossed the floor. And Jagan walk out of parliament for over 9 months or more, allow Burnham to pass all the bill of nationalization and return back when Burnham do everything. And this was what Burnham says. Open the door and welcome the prodigal son, the parasite of society. May God be with all of you, and peace to you, the good Indian and the blacks. I hate to only address the two diseases, but they are good women and men in both race. Unite and make Guyana the stepping stone for the parasite. Good luck, and may God be with all of you.